Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin, where our resident defiantly screaming into the outward oblivion, Samira, has gone to seek the advice of her mentor on various different topics. Samira will find them, as usual, when they make their weekly check-in, as they do once a week at the Hindu temple. As you enter the inner sanctum of the temple, you will once again be hit by its heady incense and aroma as you see the individual, here pictured, seated very calmly under the statue of Vishnu. She has a book in one hand as she's currently reading something, as she plays with one of the knives that are there pictured in her other hand, flicking it aptly between her fingers whilst not seeming to pay any attention to
Okay. Just as a note, Evan, Sam's brought takeout again.
it.
She knows what this arrangement is.
It's fine. The knife will very, very quickly be flicked around in the hand and then into the scabbard at the side as the figure will raise her veiled face and she'll quirk her head to the side and she'll say, I like that we've developed this little, how would you say, back and forth between you and I. I arrive, food appears. It is an excellent arrangement.
Yeah, you seem to really like the stuff I got, so here you go.
You can see she's smiling on behind the veil. You can tell by the eyes as she leans back and she kind of puts one of her arms on the step that she's sitting on, so she's kind of leaning at a 90-degree angle, or sorry, at an 85-degree angle, and she'll say, "Tell me something. Why is it that you walk as if the weight of the world were rather firmly placed upon your shoulders in chatting?"
I didn't really think I did that, but there's a lot of stuff to worry about, you know? I wanna help out and we'll make sure it gets done.
However, I will say that in a life that is devoid of anything save action, any joy save the joy of combat and death, then you walk down a very narrow, very dark path.
Oh, so is that your way of saying?
She will very calmly kind of reach out and tug on your arm to get you to sit down.
Sam will go ahead and sit down.
She'll cross her legs as she will open one of the takeout containers and will spear a piece of chicken with a fork before she'll pull down her veil and begin to eat. But she says, "It's not my way of telling you anything. It's me. Okay. Allow me to reiterate my point. Do you know why I was angry at the what was his name? The police officer, the one who inadvertently may or may not have contacted the Technocratic Union, etc. Do you know why I had to give him justice?"
Because he was using our code of ethics as reason to justify his misguided actions?
She'll nod and she will say, "We do not kill indiscriminately, only when there is someone who suffers true pain, a life that itself has become crushing. In that case, we relieve them of their suffering. Ultimately, if you spend life in the pursuit of death and pain, or, yes, in the exemplification or magnification thereof, then you have become part of the solution, then you have become part of the problem and not part of the solution. Do you understand?"
Yeah. Yes, I do.
There's once again a smile as she says, "You must find time to be Samira, to make yourself smile, or else the world itself will become cold, morose, and all about the simple action that we must take. For after all, in the end, those who deal death are steeped in it. It is best that we know ourselves and know what it is that we take why it is we take the steps that we must. Know that we are people first and instruments of the will of our creed second.
You're right. I'm going to work on that more.
There's a nod.
There is one thing going on that is with this.
I didn't hear the last thing you said, Tim.
Oh, Sam said, I'm not sure how to deal with this thing that's happening.
She looks up at you and kind of quirks her head to the side.
The woman that has my heart, to be Mafandi, the one that was brought back by the doctor. I've been hearing rumors and seeing notes. The other survivor of Jack Half-a-Smile disappeared, and there was a note for me. Out of character, I believe it was something along the lines of, if we share a heart, we'll be sisters.
Yes, it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll say it was, she had my heart, that we were related or close to one another somehow.
Hmm. She will contemplate that for a moment as she continues to eat. And she'll say, well, are you?
No, I'm not her. My heart is an organ. It's not... Magically, there may be significance to it, but it's not me. Doesn't mean that we're the same.
Then she is not you, Chad. She is not your sister. You are not blood of each other's blood. You must remember that. That in your soul there is no resonance. Blood might bind you, and blood is powerful. However, ultimately, you are not her, and you are not responsible for her sins.
Does that mean that ultimately I should be the one to be anyone, really, but something tells me that it's going to be between me and her.
I do not know what path you usually take. However, she contemplates. Have you noticed the fact that the world is entirely drawn up of poetry?
How so?
The world always seems to seek to create great works in our day-to-day lives. Everything is spectacular when viewed through the right lens. Every failure is dramatic, every success a victory beyond words or measures. Because the world tends to like these dramatic moments that cause people to stand as they hold their breath in anticipation. You asked if you must be the one to defeat her. I do not know the answer to this. All that I do know, however, is the fact that it would be the greatest end to a story. And so it is it might please the world, because the world tends to enjoy endings of that caliber.
I'll be honest, I don't want to kill her. I don't want to bring good death onto anyone, really. but I don't know how else to stop the Nefandi. I've heard some truly awful things about them, and if they're true, then
Well, in all honesty, I have never encountered one. I know very little about them other than the stories and the fairy tales that they used to frighten children. They are not my necessary area of expertise, but they are powerful, they are deceitful. I think that the letter was written to elicit an emotional response so that you would be angry or thrown, caught off your guard in one way or another, shocked, perhaps. So it is the fact that you must not be. You must push down these emotions, leave them to one side. You must think with clarity of purpose. After all, if you should fall or falter, if you should react in a way that is being expects, then I believe that they will have I believe they will not only have the advantage, but the chink in your armor that they will need to penetrate it with a blade made of subtlety as you draw your last breath.
and I definitely don't want to die again yet.
There's a smile as she reaches out, and she'll reach out and she'll stroke your hair, and she'll say, "No, I sense that you have a rather greater destiny ahead of you than to simply end up as, well, we shall not think of it. I have faith in your ability to overcome whatever obstacle the world may throw. However, ultimately, as I've said, it is an obstacle that you must overcome. Do you have any other sources of information as it might pertain how you may fight this entity?"
Yeah, there's one. The Archbishop.
There's a nod. I don't know him, but in the awakened community, I know that he is very much a propagate of the elimination of all demonic and or nephandic influence. So he may well be your best port of call.
All right.
If I may give you some advice.
Of course, always.
If you must go and speak to the chorus, particularly to this individual, she'll smile and she'll say, "Do not show fear. Do not show hesitation. You might not worship his god or accept his beliefs. However, if you present yourself as a holy warrior willing to do the will of the divine, to strike down the evil, I believe even he will see that in you."
Well, I'll do my best, I guess. Still trying to get all this Holy Warrior of the Divine stuff down. Kali was not very clear with me. She just kind of shouted at me a lot.
Kali is the goddess of murder, the goddess of blood. Sometimes you need to find stability elsewhere. For example, Vishnu, who helps to hold up the world, who is the father to us all, he will give you strength if you ask him for it. Or indeed Ganesha, who will always grant good luck, and who always wishes to see his children come home. There are many gods, there are many truths. You have found one truth in the hands of Kali. However, perhaps you need to find truth in the eyes of the others as well.
You're definitely right. I think I've been focused too much on only one half of what gave me my Dharma. There was two. And more, really.
Then go and seek them out.
Will do.
May your footsteps always find the light, and yet your face always find the shadow, little one.
You as well. And I assume that was like a goodbye, right?
Essentially, yes.
Out of character.
Yes, that was a goodbye.
Okay, yeah.
Essentially.
Sam will do a bow because I assume the bows are a thing.
I will point out she is very, very informal with you, so it's up to you if you choose to bow or not.
I think Sam would definitely choose to because she super fucking respects her mentor, and even though they rarely get to talk, like she's one of the few people that's actually really helped guide her along all this.
Okay, so you will bow. She will kind of turn her attention back to the book that she was reading as she puts down the food, and she will say, as an afterthought, as you start to walk towards the door, she will say, "Are all of the other Euthanatoi in the city as yet well?"
I haven't seen Michael in a while. I know Jackie's going through quite a lot.
I sensed that his path would not be an easy one.
Definitely not. As far as I know, he's okay, roughly. Although I think he's going to have quite a bit of bad luck for a while.
There's a court eyebrow. What did he do?
He may or may not have took that Akashic Saisho's name into a deal that we were making to
She
get
will
some
look at you.
things in the city.
She will look at you head on, and she will say, "I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you know why that man is dangerous?"
I only learned a little bit about the Akashics and our long-running rivalry with them. From what I see, Saisho is he's unpredictable. He is he seems like he is very violent. I don't see his belief in the wheel. From what I understand, that there's something weird about that sword he has too. I don't know.
Do you know of the She will stand up, and she'll brush herself down, and she says, "Do you know of the conflict that their people and ours had a very long time ago that was the catalyst for the formation of the Euthanatus?"
I've heard a little bit about it.
The Himalayan War was a great conflict that lasted for centuries. It literally involves, as one side would reincarnate through the wheel, the conflict would continue from one iteration to the next iteration to the next iteration. Do you understand this premise?
Yeah, I get that.
The Akashics will forever claim that we began the war by slaughtering civilians during a plague. The correct answer was we were granting the good death to those whom we believed could not be cured. See it that way.
From what I understand, the Akashics want to step out. They want to divorce themselves from the world and the real by extension, right?
She will nod. The sword that Saisho no Kage bears, for the record, is as old as that conflict. It was forged during the final years of the Himalayan War. I believe its translated name is the Tooth of the Dragon Who Guards the Void. It is older and more archaic than that. It was created to destroy souls so they could not they themselves re-enter the wheel.
I cannot properly describe the look of absolute disgust on Sam's face, but it's a look of absolute disgust.
It was first used at the Battle of Kumala Plain, where its champion and, I believe, the blood relative Saishios struck down a famed and great master of the Athanatos named Mujahad, ending his life and destroying his soul.
Why would they make something like that?
There was a contemplation. She actually looks to be contemplating. As I have said, the war dragged on for generations, with one side being reincarnated into the other, with one side reincarnating and then the conflict continuing. They saw it as the way to bring peace and victory, to assure the fact that their Dharma would continue.
So their reaction to us helping make sure that people don't live on a short, agonizing life and experience a new one as soon as possible, their response to that is to create a sword that abjectly destroys anything.
I suppose from their perspective, they view it as bringing peace, ultimate tranquility, as they believe that the destruction of such puts you outside of the wheel.
That sounds like a way to justify sadism.
It is not something that I understand or that I can agree with. I believe as you believe, child. I am merely saying that it is dangerous, and it is blackest as black oblivion. And this is why you should never trust the first shadow. For the record, that is what its name translates to. Because because he and his lineage are full of lies and full of pain.
All right, then.
She will say, "Is there anything else I can do for you?"
That's all I can think of right now. Thank you for what you told me about that sword. I thought there was something off about it. I couldn't put my finger on it.
She will say, "If he ever goes to draw it, he must be considered our enemy."
Draw it against us or draw it, period?
There is only one reason one would draw that sword. Do you understand?
I think. What's the one reason? Would it be against something so... I can't imagine too many things that would be that evil and...
The only reason that that sword is drawn is the destruction of a soul. One reason or another, whether it be the brightest of the bright or the blackest of the black, it is only drawn to end that soul's existence. All souls are precious, Samira.
They are.
She will smile, and she will say, "Now go. You have another path to walk tonight, I think."
I do. Just one question.
Hmm?
One last one. Those
Yes.
souls that were put outside of the wheel. Can we confirm if they were destroyed, or can they be dragged back into it?
You can see her contemplate for a couple of minutes, and she'll actually stop, and you'll see her she will spend about 5 minutes talking, or 5 minutes thinking without talking, and she will say, "I cannot answer that question. However, would you be interested in knowing the answer?"
Yes.
In that case, the next time I come, I will bring a guest with me who may be able to answer that question if you would like.
All right. Thank you.
She will nod.
Okay. You go ahead and order your takeout. I'm gonna finish this night up with talking to the Archbishop and trying to line up some.
There'll be a nod, and she'll say, "As I've said, show them the fire that's in your eyes. I have faith in you."
Thank you. And we'll bow to her, and we guys suppose we can go ahead and do a montage over to the church. Which I assume the Archbishop's at the church. I assume he sleeps there.
Oh yeah, no. For the record, the bishop has a palace that's right next to the cathedral. When I say a palace, it's just a fancy house.
Okay. Okay. Say.
But fun fact for Tim, if you ever need to know it for like trivia or anything like that, a bishop's residence is always called a palace.
Okay. Cool.
It goes back to old Catholicism. But you will find you will enter the church. Once again, there are hundreds of candles lit that throw their light every which way. Someone is playing the organ rather pleasantly somewhere in the background. You will notice as you walk through the door, however, the warding and the magical protections on this place have been increased by a factor of 10 since you last were here.
Oh, hey!
As in, you're pretty sure this place could now survive a nuclear blast. Whether the Archbishop thinks a nuclear blast is incoming or not, you can ask him.
I mean, that makes a legitimate question.
But you will be met by another priest who... have you met Father Ignatius before? Have you not?
The name doesn't ring a bell.
Father Ignatius, who is a shorter, kind of well-rounded man, and you guess his early 40s, will walk up to you and he'll say, "And what can I do for you, my child?"
I come to seek wisdom from the Archbishop.
Ah. May I ask your name, please?
Samira Katri.
Very good. If you would care to take a seat, I shall inform His Eminence that you are here.
Okay. Thank you.
The smaller man will waddle off. You will be left alone for about 5-10 minutes before the Archbishop will emerge from the vestry, which is just behind the altar. He has his hands clasped behind his back, and he looks really tired.
Sam kind of hones in on that. Like, wait, what?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I humbly apologize, Archbishop. What would be the proper way to refer to you?
Your Eminence or Your Grace, whichever you would prefer.
Very well then, Your Eminence. I apologize. I simply just wish to show you the proper respect in your house.
He will nod. He will say, "And what can I do for you, Miss Samaya, on this rather pleasant evening?"
Well, she's going to kind of look at the. I assume the bags under his eyes could get Samira her groceries, could carry her groceries.
It's more so he doesn't really have bags under his eyes. He's very pale, and he has those kind of. His eyes don't have bags, but they're kind of almost shrunken in his head, if that makes sense. As in, he just looks actually not tired. No, it would be he looks sick.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. This is something Samira has some knowledge to deal with, if it comes down to it. But what Sam's gonna do is she's gonna say first. Well, Your Eminence, you recall our battle in the mansion outside of town, right? Against the.
He will say, "Indeed, I hope that Professor Templehoff finds his rest wherever his soul has gone."
I hope so too. If the Archbishop wants to P&E that, there's actually no, there's not really, there's probably, some emotion in there insofar as this man is literally responsible for me dying, but it's something that, like, she's not actively shouting about, if that makes any sense. She actually does hope that he finds some rest.
Question, does Samira have a mind shield?
She does not have a mind shield.
Okay, he already knows.
Cool. Okay. Is it surface thoughts?
No. You are a book.
Okay, awesome. Do you want me to just tell you everything then?
Okay.
Okay, so she is concerned. She has heard stirrings about Templehoff's daughter, and she is worried that she's still around, and she feels that it is part of her dharma to, if not stop her, at the very least help stop her. And she's hoping to get any kind of knowledge that he has to bring to bear on that. Any experiences he has regarding her, like anything he knows about her. The other thing that's on her mind is, oh, hey, you look really sick. Are you okay? I don't want to ask you this in public because I don't want to make you seem weak, but are you okay?
You are the only two currently in the church. I will point posterity.
Awesome. In the back of her head, she's also thinking about whether or not she's going to play Overwatch later to help lighten up her mood, like she was told to. She's also, despite not really liking violence, kind of excited about going up against a Jewish ninja. The Archbishop may not be sure what that means.
Yeah, there might be slight quirk digression, but he will say, for the record, he will not talk. He will not insinuate any of these. He is going to let you do the conversation as you wish. He's not going to basically poke anything that he knows, if that makes sense. I think that's rude.
No, that's definitely fair. Rule number one of Mage, guys, just get your fucking mind shields up. Just get your mind shields up.
From an out of character reason, I'll tell you this because I think it's quite cool. There's a very good in character reason he has this level of detection up. Do you know what it is?
Is this so that way he can? I actually don't know. I'm not going to presume that.
He cannot read a demon's mind or a demon host's mind.
That's fair. That's legit.
So basically, he reads the minds of those around him, and if there's someone he can't read, that immediately makes him go boom.
Okay, so mind shield will be like, okay, it's a mind shield. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, because that kind of a mind shield is like something that he would tap on and go, oh, that exists. If that means something. Whereas if there's no shield there, and he's just like, I can't read you. There's something wrong with that. You get me? But but he will say, "Would you care to perhaps come to my? Would you care to perhaps step into my study? In that case, Miss
Um,
Samari,
yeah, yes. Sure, Your Eminence.
would you care for something? Would you care for some tea or anything of the kind?"
Um, only if you'll be having any.
I think so. He
Alrighty.
will. He will walk you back through the vestry and up a set of stairs that leads to a much more secular building in that must lead off the church, where they have things like offices and the administration area, because this is not only the cathedral, but it's also basically the center of the diocese of Dublin. So there's like an awful lot of paperwork that needs to be done here. They own a lot of properties like schools and hospitals, so they have to oversee the finances for those. So he'll lead you through it. It's all very dead. It's quite late at night as he leads you into a rather well decorated office that kind of it has some books. It has some bookshelves. It's got a fire that's currently crackling in the background, and he will sit in a plush kind of high backed, wing backed chair in front of the fire, and he'll gesture for you to take the other seat, as you are as a woman will bustle into the room who's clearly like some kind of housekeeper, and will place a tray of tea down on a table that sits between you.
Alright, take some, drink some.
Good tea.
Awesome. Very
So,
good tea.
you wish to speak to me on the matter of Templehoff's daughter, I take it, yes?
Oh, out of character. What was that? A matter of temporal. What?
You wish to speak to me on the matter of Templehoff's daughter, I take it?
Okay, and she nods and says, yes, Your Eminence.
Would you care to hear the story as to what do you wish to understand? Do you wish me to tell you her story, or do you wish me to give you pertinent facts?
Both, Your Eminence. I have reason to think that it might be nothing. I might just be being paranoid, but something tells me that she may still be with us somehow.
Oh, she is not dead. He says that very, very kind of,
Matter of fact,
yes, she's not dead.
Samira nods and says, kind of what I expected.
In order for me to explain this, I need to ask you, have you ever heard the term Kelas Ha?
Can't say that it rings a bell.
Very well. So that you may understand, there are 3 divisions of the Nefandis. There are Infernalists, they worship demons, the things that are in the pit, that which has been smote down by the hand of God. There are the Malfians, who worship. How have you been taught the nature of the spirits and the spirit world?
Oh, what was his question?
Have you been taught the nature of spirits and the spiritual world?
Samira can't think of a respectful way to answer this, so she kind of lets out a. No, actually, no, I know what she'll say, I don't really know too much.
There are in all 3 greater entities that occupy the spirit world, whom are perceived by spirits and the denizens of the other side to be considered the greater beings. These are the Weaver, who creates things, the Wild, which is the realm of imagination and dreams, and the Worm, which is the being of the entity of corruption and destruction. Well, in order to explain, the Malfians, they worship the latter, the entity known as the Worm, the entity of destruction. And then, last but not least, there are the Kalas Ha. Allow me to contemplate. Do you remember when we stood in Templehoff's home and his daughter opened up a great rift into the void?
Yes, that was kind of terrible.
Do you remember what lurked on the other side of the event horizon?
All that I really remember were Tendrils' eyes, and I think it was speaking to her.
Yes. That was complicated. It was a being that would colloquially be known as an outsider, something beyond the light of the Almighty, something else. Miss Templehoff belongs to that particular faction of the Nefandi. She believes that the universe needs to be brought back to the primordial darkness in which it was in before the Lord Almighty shattered it with a blow and created the universe as we know it. She was a very intelligent girl, filled with pride. However, you know, I assume, the old saying that pride cometh before a fall.
Yep.
Her father doted on her, but then again, he always had his work in the society to do. You have to understand that in the 1960s, we faced a very similar problem to the one we did now. However, in place of the technocracy, we were dealing with Nephandic cults. Many of them spread throughout the country, to the point that the Celestial Chorus had to call a Magnorum Singulatum, essentially a magical crusade, if you will, in order to rid the land of them. And it took us several years to do so. We were only capable of doing it in the end with the information that was garnered, or with the aid of the Society of Ether, and indeed the Order of Hermes. Which is why I mourned the passing of Master, I mourned the passing of Master Meritz as much as I did. He was a good ally in this cause. But we managed to do so. However, at the time, we were always on the back foot when it came to combating these cults. They always knew from which direction we would strike. They knew where it was that we lived and where our loved ones were located. And we could not understand why. And it turns out that that was because they were being fed information by Moira Templehoff, the daughter of the now late Professor Templehoff. We only found this out towards the completion of the conflict, when we were ridding the last bastion of their infernalist filth from the landscape. We found hidden papers, ciphered and sealed, that bared her hand, etc. And when we confronted her, she managed to scatter the others, and I myself ended up having to have a rather unpleasant altercation with her that ended up shattering a large element of the city in which we fought. We ended up having to alter the memories of the citizens in order to think it was a terrorist attack at the city of Oma. But I was able to eventually destroy her body, and I thought send her soul onto her masters, as that is all that is good for those who are apparently so lost. However, Dr. Templehoff, it would seem, managed to capture her soul before it was transitioned on, or before it could be claimed. He thought, as he came to me, he asked me to bring his daughter back from the grave, and I could not tell a grieving father the fact that his daughter had been responsible for so much blood and chaos. So I merely told her to pray for her soul and to move on with his life. He apparently did not. And so it is that we have the situation in which I believe you currently find yourself. Your heart set at the very center of her breast. Even though you did vaporize the body, it is entirely possible that the soul, minus a vessel, her masters may have deemed too valuable to simply claim, and may have used the sympathetic connection as she also bore this woman's eye, I believe, in order to simply reconstitute her there.
So Alice Mace, is that woman still alive then, Alice?
I honestly could not tell you. It is possible that she is simply being ridden or skin shifted via the soul. It is also possible the soul has been obliterated and taken over via the Nefandis. Without seeing her, I could not tell you.
How would one know? What signs would we be looking for?
Have you ever seen the soul of an infernalist?
No.
They are black and mired with corruption. I assure you, once you see it, you will know. Even if they may make attempts to hide it from sight. However, ultimately, if those protections are worn away, you will see the rotting hole that is the carcass of their existence. If this girl's soul still exists innocent and pure, then you will be able to see it in contrast to the soul of rotting sanguinity.
All right. Because I cannot lie, Your Eminence. As much as I would love to just talk to this woman and get her to stop, I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not sure that there's very much that can happen short of a more permanent solution.
There's a nod of the head as he says, I honestly believed with all of my heart that I had sent this girl on a very long time ago to whatever eternal reward or damnation was hers. The fact of the matter is that she has now destroyed more lives with her new actions than I could have possibly comprehended. So I understand your pain and share it.
Right. There's a chance that we can get Alice back.
If her soul has not been sent to the pit or to her dark masters, then yes.
I have an obligation to at least save her, just as I have an obligation to stop Moira.
That is a mighty task you place upon your shoulders.
With all luck, it won't be just me. But either way, even if it's not my hand that does all of this, I will not have something like my heart be a part of these actions, even if it was vaporized.
He will say, I am happy to help you, and I have the tools that can be used to do so. However, you must use them at your own peril.
All right, what kind of danger are we talking here, Your Eminence?
He will stand up and he will walk to the door of his office as he kind of gestures for you to follow him.
She'll get up and start following.
Okay. He will proceed to walk down the same flight of stairs you came up, but rather than going up from the flight of stairs, he will continue to go down a spiraling staircase into what appears to be the basement. He will then very calmly walk over to one of the walls of the basement, and he will pull a candelabra that has been affixed to the wall to the side, which will open a small door, a door large enough for you to comfortably step through. As he does this, torches will light all along the way of what appears to be a 20-foot long passageway that leads down through a rough. That leads down. It's kind of cut stone in the kind of way a castle's corridor would be. What is Samira's academics?
I believe she has an academics of 2. Academics 2.
Okay, cool. As you walk down the corridor with him, you notice the fact that every inch of the walls, the ceiling, and the floor are covered in scriptures and pictograms.
Damn. Oh, it does stand to mention, she does have Theology 3.
Oh, holy crap! Okay, this is you're not necessarily understanding any of the scripture because it's mostly written in Latin.
Okay.
However, you notice a lot of the pictograms and symbols are things like the sigils of the martyrs. There are various different forms of crucifixi. There are a lot of incredibly Catholicized dogma doctrine on every single inch of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
At the very end of which you notice the fact that there is the door itself, the end of the corridor, is once again covered in sigils and seals, prayer scripts and pentagrams. Literally, the warding power coming off this door is almost physically forcing you backwards, even though you can tell, if you probably get the idea that if you weren't a guest, you would have a very sad time walking down this corridor.
Alrighty then. Sweet.
The Archbishop will walk to the door and he will place his hand on the center pentagram, at which point you'll basically start to see it swirl. You'll basically start to see it swirl and change as you hear thousands of clicking noises on the other side before it swings open. And you are brought into a very, very dimly lit room. Like, as in, you can only see the fact that there appears to be a reading desk in the very, very center of the room. At which point the Archbishop will usher you in and close the door behind you. And he will snap his fingers. And once again, hundreds of torches will light all around you, as in really, really an awful lot of torches will light around you, and you find yourself in what looks to be a tower, but every single surface on the tower is completely covered in bookshelves that go up in a spiraling pattern towards the ceiling. Many of the books feel, and you get a palpable sense, evil. They feel wrong. They feel like the very desecration of the air, if that makes sense.
Oh my god. Alrighty.
And he will say, "Herein lies all of the information you would ever require. However, knowing it, as I say, comes with a price."
Sanity?
He'll contemplate, and he will say, "A weak mind cannot cope with the reality of where it is they stand in the cosmos. I have faith that yours is not a weak mind, Miss Samira."
I certainly hope not, Your Eminence.
He will say, "You may look and you may read, you may come to understand and come to an understanding. That might enable you to fight your foe." Hi, Sam. We're going to play a fun game.
Yeah.
It's called You Can Have As Many Dots of Lore as You Want. As in, you can put down 5 dots of. Basically, this library is entirely based on the spiritual. It's based on spirit lores. It's based on. It has a lot of spirit lore. It has a lot of demonic lore, a lot of Nephondic lore, a lot of outsider lore. Stuff that the mind was not meant to know. But you can put down as many dots of it on your sheet as you want. However, for every 2 dots you put down, you will gain a derangement.
Damn!
A derangement that I will decide.
Every 2 dots period, or every 2 dots in a single lore?
Every 2 dots period.
Okay. Damn!
That is the price of this kind of knowledge.
That is indeed the price. Damn.
I'm just gonna nip out and get a drink because my throat is really dry, so I'll leave you to think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, Tim.
Hey.
How are we feeling?
All right. Normally, my ass would at least get 2 dots and get that derangement. Fuck it. Unfortunately, Sam already has a derangement.
Oh, even if you take, okay, I'm going to point out because I have to be fair. Even if you take only a single dot, you're still getting a derangement.
Damn it!
After that, it clocks up to 1 every 2.
Shit. Nah, that is rough as shit.
I'm literally kind of dangling the big book of forbidden lore in front of you, going, "Come on!"
This is not that character that would take that, though.
How many of your other characters are screaming out at you, Tim? Going, do it!
Yeah, my first I loaded is like, do it. You're crazy already. Do it.
What is her current derangement?
PTSD. I count it as a derangement. I don't know if you do.
I don't think it is a derangement in FOA. I think it actually has some separate thing.
Like, yeah, it's weird because it's like its own flaw, and then there's a list of other derangements. So I don't know. I've always called it a derangement, but if it's not actually that, my bad.
I don't really mind. It's up to you.
Okay. I think I know it's mad as fuck. You know my ass would have gone for Bonded Lore 5, not give a fuck. But Sam has some opinions regarding this. And she's going to say, the first question she'll ask actually is, Your Eminence, have you read any of this collection?
Every volume, every line.
That's kind of a little bit of horror there, because I mean, oh god. Oh god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
However, when you have enough mind magic, you tend to look at the ratings and go, eh.
Oh god, he's spending willpower every day. It has some really crazy mind effects up all the time.
Yep. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, get fucked. I feel like, yeah, no, this is not. Yeah. This is going to be one of the few times, I think, in which Tim does not hit the red button.
Oh, are you feeling okay?
Yeah. What Sam's going to do is she's going to say, if I read these, I lose a little bit of myself, don't I?
He'll contemplate that, and he will say, oftentimes, in order to open darkness, one must need to understand darkness, to see it with your own eye. And unfortunately, the longer you spend in darkness, the more sometimes you turn into yourself. I choose to point out that you're reading about a werewolf perspective. This book
Oh, sorry.
literally has an inclination to crucify the worm on the ways to Sunday.
I did not catch all that, Evan. What was that?
I said, if you think about it from a werewolf perspective, this library literally has enough lore on the topic to really to really screw the worm something shocking.
Oh, yeah, no. The Utena would be like, what? You have what? Where now? You have. Oh, bam.
I actually was contemplating that today. Tim, can you have a werewolf can you actually have a Christian werewolf or a werewolf who has a religion that's not the werewolf religion?
The answer is, I can talk to you about it after the scene. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, that whole idea.
Okay, so he will say to you kind of as he says, you do not need to make your answer now. You do not need to give me your answer now. You need to think about it. You should think about it.
All right. I know I'm definitely going to need some time to think about all this.
He will nod. Was that all that you required, Samara?
There was one other thing while we were here and while we were away from the public, as it were. And I mean this with the utmost respect, but Your Eminence, are you okay?
He will say, I have been combating a large-scale technocratic plan that I'm led to understand you are aware of. Have you heard of the fact that they intended to use an augmented version of some kind of plague in order to sweep across the city?
Using the blood bags, yes.
Yes. I have been curing the individuals afflicted before the symptoms can manifest. However, it is taking its toll.
Depending on what the plague is, Your Eminence, I might be able to find some kind of way to do essentially what you do. Either cure it or at least stop it. I am still a medical professional, after all.
He will say, I have no doubt of this. I legitimately don't. As I've said, all I'm doing currently is curtailing it, making it so that it does not spread like wildfire and incite a mass panic. I think that the best way of dealing with it would be as... Have you met Magister Alexandre D'Onofrier of the Order of Hermes?
I believe I have, yes, Your Eminence. Out of character, that's Anthony's NPC that almost always rolls with the Archbishop when there's Nefandi shit or demonic shit, right?
No, that's my one who had her boobs in your face.
No, because there was another one that Anthony was running.
Yeah, no, Anthony's is called Croshaw. Is called Gabriel Croshaw. Mine is
Okay.
Alexandra D'Onofrier.
Okay. Then yeah, she'll say, I don't think I've had the pleasure yet.
But Tim, you have met her.
Oh, you're saying it was her?
Yes, the one who had her breasts in your face.
Oh, then instead, let me retcon that. She blushes and she says, yes, I know her.
Ah, I see you genuinely have met her then. She is currently working on a means of tracking the virus so it is that we can understand where it is that it's being produced, as it is being produced. They've designed it so that it must be administered once the enchantments on the blood bags themselves appear. It only has virulency for approximately 2 days. So basically, it means that the disease can spread, but arguably cannot spread outside of the city proper, if you understand. They want it to be localized. So, I believe that if you wish to attempt to make a cure, that is an admirable initiative. You will, however, require a sample of the blood. I believe, actually, we have a sample of the blood. I can't remember. I think out of character, Evan has to think. I think Ikiro has an unopened bag of it. So, yes, in theory, if you could come up with some kind of remedy towards it, that would be excellent, as it is becoming incredibly straining as the disease propagates so quickly. Almost everyone an individual meets within a 2-day period will become infected. So anyone who slips through my net, I immediately have to find again, and it is very problematic.
All right. I remember we had talked about this before. Ultimately, what we want to do is shut down the source, but can't have innocents dying because we're not able to find the root of this. I think I have some ideas on how to make this work. They're going to be kind of weird, but I think I can do it.
I have faith in you, my child.
She smiles. It's a very genuine smile. It's almost as if she's confident in her abilities in the medical profession.
As I have said, do not worry about me. My outward physical appearance is just a matter of the fact that it is very difficult to gain any kind of proper rest as this has been going on. So I've currently been awake for, he contemplates, 11, 12 days. Fascinating. If this helps, I'm also currently, well, this is a facsimile of myself. My real self is currently occupying my sanctum, still on the curing initiative.
All right.
Wonderful correspondence will let you do these days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you need to get you some correspondence?
Is that Evan saying that, or is that the Archbishop completely breaking formality and being like, "Hey, fam"?
The Archbishop has many superpowers. Breaking the fourth wall is not one of his superpowers.
Okay. Yeah, I know I need correspondence.
Such a brosphere.
It is. Out of character though, I'll tell you my idea later. I'll tell you my idea after the scene's over because it's kind of silly.
Excellent. I approve of all silly ideas. I tell you what, if you're done in that case, because it's getting quite early, do you have anything else in particular you really want to do?
I think we're pretty solid here. Sam has a pretty clear direction she wants to go in now. Two very clear directions.
Okay, cool. In that case, thank you players for playing. Thank you watchers for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin. Peace out, y'all.